2 weeks with Nintendo Switch 2, and here's what I think. Hello world, I've had this bad boy right here for 2 weeks now, and yeah, I can already see the questions like, well, the official release was only at 5th of June and now it's only 17th of June. How come you got it for 2 weeks? Because I got this console for a few days earlier than its official release. Yeah, kind of crazy, but it's my first time, but yeah, it is what it is. So I will divide this video into 2 parts, into positives and negatives, and at the end of the video I will just give you my verdict sort of, and just what I think about it. At the end of the day, do you need to buy it or you don't, and who needs to buy it? So get your food ready, your tea or whatever you're eating there, and let's start. So the first positive and the most obvious one, of course, is this handheld's beautiful, gorgeous screen. 1080p, 120Hz, HDR, even though it's not the best HDR, but it is pretty solid. And yeah, it is probably everything I could have wished for. It's awesome. Of course, besides one exception, it's not OLED, right? OLED, and we can probably say why, because they are probably going to make a new version of Nintendo Switch 2 in a few years, like the same thing they did with the original Nintendo Switch. So yeah, it is in a Nintendo style and we are already used to it. The screen is beautiful, it's gorgeous, it shines in all of the Nintendo Switch 2 games like New Mario Kart, the updated Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and all of the other cool games like Cyberpunk or No Man's Sky, and all of these games. I'd say the only problem of this screen, besides it not being OLED, is the lack of games, but we are going to talk about it later. The next positive for me is, of course, these magnets. The magnets are just awesome. They are so much better than the slides that we had. And of course, I wasn't against slides that much, but the drift that we had after some time was kind of annoying. And here, this system feels like a whole complete handheld. Finally, it's awesome, it's great. I don't know what's gonna happen after some time, after months or years, but for now, after these 2 weeks, I can tell that nothing really drifts. Maybe like a little bit when you really try to like sort of move it, but not really much. So for now, it's awesome. The next positive, and of course the major one, is the hardware, the new hardware of Nintendo Switch 2. We can finally play all of our favorite games like The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom in a freaking good way. 1080p, HDR, 60 FPS and plus. It's so cool now. Finally, all these games, they are shining. The only problem with that, as I said, is the lack of Switch 2 updates, but we are going to talk about it a bit later and a bit more further in this video. But let's talk about the updated Joy-Cons. They are now so much better. These sticks, they feel so much better now. Like, I don't know, guys. If you already tried Switch 2 and you had Switch OLED or the original Switch before, you know what I'm talking about. These sticks, they are so much better. They feel so freaking heavenly. I'm not gonna lie. These slides, they are. I've seen some sort of arguments on the internet where people are not really satisfied still with the Joy-Cons, and of course they are not best for all of these shooters or all of that sort of like FPS competitive shooters. Yeah, true, but I'm gonna tell this to anyone who still don't have Switch 2 and maybe considering buying it or just waiting for his delivery to come. I'm just telling you guys, the first thing, like after you touch these sticks in particular, they are so great. Like, I've never felt that good just moving this stick. Never. I have my DualSense controller here. I had Xbox controllers. I have Nintendo Switch Pro controller here. But these sticks, they are just the best. They are awesome. The feeling is incredible, just trust me. The next positive here is the addition to the hardware, but still I had to talk about it a bit more. So third-party games. Now with that hardware, we got so many third-party games promising. Like it's possible now, finally possible, to get all of our favorite third-party games on Nintendo Switch. And I feel like Nintendo Switch 2 being that popular, all of the third-party developers, they just must do all of these ports for Nintendo Switch 2. And actually, we are already waiting for some new ports on Nintendo Switch 2. Like Elden Ring is already been announced. We got Cyberpunk already. We are going to get Final Fantasy VII Remake and all of the other cool games. So now, finally, Nintendo Switch is the platform where we will be able to play all of the games from all of the platforms, from PS5 and all of the other platforms. Just don't even think about it. We are going to get all of those ports with the hardware of Nintendo Switch 2 being that powerful. We are going to get the ports. Of course, some of the ports won't be the best. They won't be that much playable, but I feel like Cyberpunk test already proved that we will be able to run absolute most of the games so smoothly, so great on Nintendo Switch 2 that it's gonna be just awesome for portable gaming now. Now let's move on to the negatives. And the first thing, and it's not really a negative, but still I had to mention it, the size of Switch 2. It is, in my opinion, still a portable handheld, but it's very, very close. It came really close to being too big, right? It's too big. Let's just do a quick comparison, okay? Look at the Switch OLED and now Nintendo Switch 2. It's just almost way too big, right? It's just, yeah. But on the other hand, the coolest part about Switch 2 is that it's really thin, almost the same thin as the previous Nintendo Switch, and that makes it still portable. The next negative, and probably the biggest one, just because it can't really be fixed like that, it can't really be fixed through updates and stuff that much, is the battery life. So the battery life of Nintendo Switch 2 is sadly not that great. We already got a lot of tests, so I didn't really do my own test, but I can, even through the feelings, like even through just the time I've spent with Switch 2 and compared to my experience with the previous Nintendo Switch, my OLED or the original Nintendo Switch, it's not that great. I can tell where it's coming from because the hardware is way better, the screen is way better, and so that means that all of it is more demanding for the battery, but still it's a little sad that it's not that great. But I can feel that we are going to get at least something like the newest version of Switch 2, like we had with the original Nintendo Switch, where the battery is going to be better, or maybe we are going to get Switch 2 OLED where the battery is going to be better. For now, we got 2 hours in Cyberpunk, that's great. We got around 2-3 hours in The Legend of Zelda games, and that's great as well. So it's not actually that bad, but still could have been better. Obviously, they got much stuff to improve. So yeah, for now, it is what it is. The lack of games. Yeah, we don't really got much games specifically for Switch 2. Of course, we got Mario Kart. We got some games like Cyberpunk for Switch 2, even though this game has been out for a couple of years now and a lot of people already played it, but it's now portable, like console way portable, not on like some PC handhelds, and a few more, but as you can see already, it's not really much. So yeah, for now we don't really have a lot of games for Nintendo Switch 2 specifically, and that's really important here because of course we got the ports from the original Nintendo Switch, but they are not updated, and this is going to be the whole separate negative for me, the lack of Switch 2 updates. Because yeah, we do have Switch 1 ports and I've already tested some of them and made a whole separate video about it. If you want to, you can watch it, but we don't really have a specific Switch 2 updates and Switch 2 versions of games on Nintendo Switch 2, and that means that we don't have a lot of games in a high resolution 1080p that we got right now in a 120 Hz. So that means that we don't really utilize all of these cool features that Switch 2 has, and we are sort of compromising still. We are waiting for Switch 2 updates, and we don't really have much games to play while we're waiting. Okay, so should you buy Nintendo Switch today? my personal opinion is, if you are not really interested in playing both of the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild right now with that high resolution, FPS and all that, and maybe you are not a real big fan of Mario Kart, because for me, for example, I never played any Mario Kart before, and this one was my first experience, and I'm gonna make a new video about it, so stay tuned. And I'm not gonna say anything more here, but maybe you are not a fan of Mario Kart or any racing games. Then is it really like your way to go? Do you need to buy a Nintendo Switch 2 today, right now? Go rush? I would say no. I would say wait a couple of months at least, or maybe at least a month until the new release of Donkey Kong Bonanza. Yeah, this one is a very promising game, but maybe you should wait even more. Maybe you should wait for like a couple of months, right? Like 2-3 months, and we're gonna get like, I feel like we're gonna get dozens of Switch 2 updates, and we're gonna get some new Nintendo exclusives, and then that would be a perfect purchase. That would be a perfect handheld. Yeah, so if you're not a content maker and you need console right now to make a content, or you don't really have free money but you're still thinking like, oh, maybe I should buy Switch 2 now, like go, like, I don't know, go hard on myself, like sell something and do this. I actually don't really feel like it's worth it, just because, yeah, we do have Switch 2 and it's better almost in everything, but we don't really have a lot of games to play. So as I said, if you're not really interested in playing these Legend of Zelda games and Mario Kart, just wait, and like, I don't know, make your money right, wait for the updates and all that, and then you will be absolutely satisfied. You will enjoy the handheld, because the good thing is that the handheld itself is incredible. So that was it with my opinion. Let me know what do you think about it in the comment section down below. If you want to see more videos on Nintendo Switch topics, I'm already became a whole Nintendo blogger with the release of Nintendo Switch 2. So I got a lot of videos about Switch 2, and I'm gonna make more videos about consoles, gaming, all this stuff I like. So yeah, follow the channel if you want to see all of that. I would appreciate it a lot. And that's it, world. See you in the next video, probably tomorrow. So stay tuned. Bye.